sort of diagonal style, so there will be some room around you. And they say that the seats are all going to be sanitized for every single showing. And when you buy concessions, you're not going to go up to the concession stand, but you'll place an order on your phone, presumably on the AMC app. You'll order the food that way, and then they will have the food waiting for you someplace socially distant. So it sounds like they're taking, things that into account that need to be taken into account if you're going to have lots of people in the movie theaters. I do like that it's only going to be 25% capacity, because I would definitely not be comfortable going into a theater where people are falling all over each other, which, certainly was the case in the past.
Sounds like if you're trying to see an 8 o'clock movie, you need to show up at about 6.
Yeah, if you're going to get in. I mean, it sounds like there's going to be no such thing as buying the tickets at the window either.
Yeah, what about these theaters that are very, very small?
Right.
And I love a lot of those theaters that there's a Renaissance that I love, shows a lot of documentaries. What are they going to do?
Sure. I mean, some of the little small independent theaters that are, sprinkled around the suburbs as well. There aren't too many left in the city, that don't have these big infrastructures like AMC does, or Regal, or some of the big movie chains. I haven't heard what they're going to be doing yet and how they're going to be doing it. I would hope that they do this similar kind of seating, not cramp people in, and the concessions on the phone make sense. Doing everything where you're limited contact with anybody. Mm-hmm. I've always thought that was a good idea. I've always used to bring, people who've seen me in the theaters. Remember on Get Smart, they used to have that cone of silence. I would have one of those and just put that around me when I would go to see a movie.
You're like Howie Mandel with germs.
I am a little bit. That's very true.
The story about the Academy of Motion Pictures and a newly elected board, does this mean a change with the Oscars?
It'll probably mean a change of what kind of movies get nominated and are up for consideration. You'll remember several years ago, 5-6 years ago, there was this Oscars So White controversy that took place because the people who were making the decisions and the people that were voting both for nominations and ultimately for the awards themselves were primarily white. They were primarily older. They were above the age of 65. It was a very skewed group of people who were making all the decisions. And movies like Selma, for example, that came out a few years ago, it was nominated, but it didn't get any attention at wins that year, which was a shame because it was a really fantastic movie with great performances. But, if you have, an older audience, they're going to like certain kinds of movies. They're probably not going to like certain other kinds of movies. So that's been changing. The voting body has been changing. But yesterday also, they made a big step in the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences by electing 6 new people to their board of governors. These are the people who make the rules for all of this. And that includes the director of the movie Selma, Ava DuVernay, but it also brings this board of governors, which is a total of 54 people. 26 of those people now are women, and 12 of them are people of color, which is a record for the Academy. So it's reflecting a little bit more what society is like.
Yeah, and it should. It's 8:17 almost. Ian Richards has news about 2 major music festivals, and also we'll hear from Marissa Tomei. First, let's get an update on a couple of things, including the weather. The warm, wet stuff won't be back until, like next Tuesday, huh, Steve?
Yeah, sometime next week. Until then, a really nice stretch of great weather with a high near 80 today, mainly sunny. Clear skies tonight, low down to 60. Mainly sunny tomorrow, 77 for a high. Even a little cooler than that at the lakefront. On Saturday, mix of clouds and sunshine. Only 67 for a high and cooler at the lakefront. And on Sunday, mainly sunny, cooler, a high near 70. 65 with sunshine now at O'Hare, 66 at Midway, 64 at the lakefront.
Play has resumed today on the PGA Tour. First round of the Charles Schwab Challenge in Texas. First event since the Players' Championship was canceled after the opening round in March. The White Sox take Tennessee left-hander Garrett Crochet, and the Cubs mount Cardinal shortstop Ed Howard in the first round of the MLB draft. NASCAR cancels the Confederate flag. It's now banned from NASCAR events where it has been very visible over the years. And some NBA players reportedly having second thoughts about being in the bubble in Orlando.
Very heavy traffic on I-80 this morning, eastbound at Chicago Street because of an accident. It's slow from Humboldt over to Chicago Street. Otherwise, no accidents on any of the expressways and no big current delays as well. In Downers Grove, an accident in Belmont and 63rd. Another in Woodridge at Boughton and Woodward. South side, some road work today. Reconstruction on the bridge over the river to close west. Or northbound, rather, Loomis from Eleanor to Cermak until the Falls. Southbound one lane is open. I'm Mary Vandeveld from the IDOT Traffic Center, reminding you to drive responsibly. It really is a matter of life or The American Lung Association is here to help you through the COVID-19 pandemic with science-based information you can trust. They have resources on protecting lung health, especially for those with lung disease, medical experts to answer your questions, webinars, and online communities. Visit lung.org to stay informed about COVID-19 and lung health. And while there, if you're able, your donation to their life-saving mission is needed now more than ever. Visit lung.org.
A local family handed a licensed public adjuster their $5,000 insurance check to fix a leaky roof, and then nothing got done. WGN-TV investigates tonight at 9.
8:21, back to the Peabody Award-losing Dean Richards.
I don't know how that happens every year.
Don't feel bad.
I submit our best work. We did a piece where Larry Potash and Paul Conrad went to the Sybaris and just examining what's going on there. How do we not get some national prestigious award? And Dave Savini does, because he's investigating the Chicago police conducting raids on wrong houses. Congratulations. This is in robertfeeder.com this morning. Dave Savini, one of the recipients of Peabody Award yesterday, very deservedly so. He does amazing work. Mm-hmm. I would be shocked if he didn't repeat next year with his coverage of the riots from a week ago. He was amazing on the streets.
Yes, he was.
The R. Kelly Lifetime series, Surviving R. Kelly, also won Peabody Awards. But on a national basis, some of television shows that wound up winning Peabody Awards yesterday: Stranger Things, When They See Us, also from director Ava DuVernay, Chernobyl, Succession, Fleabag, Rami got actual Peabody Awards yesterday. And they have something called the Institutional Award for programs making significant impact on media and programming and the cultural landscape. Frontline was a winner, and The Simpsons. Now, if I was Frontline, I would be mad that The Simpsons were also, they got exactly the same award that I did.
You may want to try this trick, Dean. When we were doing Fox Thing in the morning, I told the staff every year, fill out the forms and apply submit for a Peabody Award. That way we can just call ourselves Fox Thing Up for a Peabody
For
Award.
a Peabody Award.
Yeah, see? Because I wouldn't technically be lying.
Right.
Oh, that's a good
and what
trick.
if you had actually won one? How about that?
Yeah, well, that wasn't going to happen.
For eating hot dogs or whatever.
For a bowl of fruit on the set.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
All right, so what do we know now about a couple more major music festivals?
Yeah, after Lollapalooza and many of the major Chicago festivals were canceled the other day, yesterday they pulled the plug on Coachella, which takes place just outside of the Palm Springs area in the Coachella Valley, and also the Stagecoach Country Music Festival. Both of them were postponed until October, but now the producers of these festivals are afraid that there could be a second wave of coronavirus later in the year in September, October. So they've just decided to pull the plug on the whole thing altogether. So all of that, these are two of the country's biggest music festivals. Both of those now are also gone.
As you mentioned yesterday, Pete Davidson's new movie is on demand and available now. And from what I've seen and heard, it's worth watching. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, I did see it. I actually did like it a lot. It's very revealing. It's very raw. At times, it's very uncomfortable. It's about this, loser who lives in Staten Island. It's, more than semi-autobiographical of Pete Davidson's real life. This guy who is, into drugs and into tattoos, whose father is a New York City firefighter and gets killed, just like Pete Davidson's real-life father did as a first responder at the World Trade Center on 9/11, and dealing with the death of his father and dealing with his personal, many failings of his personal life. It sounds like it would just be torturous to watch, but it's very well written by not only Pete, but comedy genius Judd Apatow, who also produces and directs the movie. All the characters in Pete's life are depicted in this. Pete in real life lives at his mom's house in Staten Island. In the movie, Marissa Tomei plays Pete Davidson's mom in the film. That's one of the things that I talked with her about when we did a little Zoom chat the other day. I'll tell you what, when I read the notes on this and saw that you were playing Pete Davidson's mom, I just thought there's no way Marissa Tomei could play somebody's mom of that age. It just, I had a hard time processing.
You and me both.
This is kind of a different thing for you.
I mean, in terms of the mom thing, I don't know. I didn't really feel that way, like on the set. I just kind of felt more like a friend or a sister, or I felt very familial with him, and which was the important thing. It felt like he felt like someone I knew and could hang out with, and it was pretty easy to build like a family relationship.
Did you develop a relationship with Pete's real mom?
During filming, she came by once when I was there. I'm sure she came other times, but we spoke on the phone. I have a lot of respect for her and I really adore her, but it wasn't a character thing.
Yeah, she's great in the movie. Pete is great in the movie. It's touching, it's poignant, it's funny, and you can find it on a lot of different platforms on demand this weekend. It's going to be one of the home video picks that I recommend. I'll go down the full list of all of that tomorrow. The whole time I'm talking to Marissa Tomei, all I'm thinking of is her in My Cousin Vinny, which is one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. People ask me all the time, "You're a movie critic. What are your favorite movies of all time?" And generally, it's pretty hard to decide because there's so many great movies. But I think about the movies that if I'm channel surfing and I see them on, I stop whatever else that I'm doing and I will watch them, like Shawshank Redemption or Moonstruck or either of the first two Godfather movies. If I see Fred Gwynn up in that judge stand going, "What's a ute?" "Sir, what'd you say? What is a ute?
Great scene.
What is a ute?"
Yeah.
And Marissa Tomei, and of course Joe Pesci. That is just an amazing movie.
I still think of Marissa Tomei with George Costanza.
Yeah, Seinfeld.
Yeah, that was a great one.
That's a fantastic episode. She's great.
And finally, we have some breaking new mom news.
Yes, Iggy Azalea. I'll pause for a moment while everyone goes, who? Iggy Azalea is one of the most, she's from Australia, one of the most popular rappers out there right now. She is 30 years old and had her first child. We don't exactly know when. She just posted it on Instagram yesterday, saying, I've been waiting for the right time to say something about this, but it feels like the more that time passes, the more I realize I'm always going to feel anxious to share news this big with the world. So she's got a brand new little boy. Mom and the little young man are all well. She says that she loves him beyond words. She is dating another rapper by the name of Playboy Cardi. They met in 2018.
Dean Richards, we'll let you get back to work so you can get that Peabody next year.
Mr. Peabody.
Yeah, Mr. Peabody.
The Mr.
Award.
Peabody
The
Award
Wayback
for me.
Machine.
Right.
Talk to
My
you.
biological clock is ticking like this.
8:29. Thanks, Dean. And we'll talk about what happened here yesterday after the 8:30 news. We were chatting with the Fraternal Order of Police President John Catanzara, and a blank storm erupted. And you had a lot of comments for us. We'll go through some of those. I'll play a couple of clips from the interview. And yes, I am now known here around the radio station as Mr. Controversy after that interview was replayed during the day on the news. It was on Channel 9. Just call me Morton Downey Jr., Sean Hannity, Rush Limbaugh. It's interesting. The aftermath of the storm, that's next.
The news is sponsored by Joint Relief Institute. George Floyd's brother tells Congress his brother didn't deserve to die over $20.
The commissioner says it's 100% sure we'll have baseball.
In business, the opening bell is ringing right now on Wall Street. We expect the Dow perhaps to open down as much as 1,000 points. We'll have the latest coming up in business in a few minutes. Now with WGN Traffic, here's Mary Vandeveld.
And traffic is brought to you by the Illinois Department of Transportation. The Edens is fine along with the Kennedy in both directions. No troubled spots on the Eisenhower, but starting at 8 o'clock tonight, the ramp on the inbound Eisenhower ramp to northbound Kennedy towards Wisconsin is going to be closing until the middle of October. A detour will be posted that takes you to the outbound Ryan to Taylor Street for a U-turn there to head back onto the Ryan. Eastbound on I-80 at Chicago Street, we still have an accident, some heavy traffic there from Hobart to Chicago. Driving responsibly in construction and work zones really is a matter of life or death. Learn more online or through social media at lifeordeathillinois.com. Mary Vandeveld, WGN Traffic Central.
And now the forecast from the Permaseal Weather Center. Mainly sunny today. Can't rule out some sprinkles later in the day. High near 80. For tonight, clear skies, a low down to 60. And then tomorrow, mainly sunny with a high near 77. And cooler by the lakefront. 65 now at O'Hare, 66 at Midway, 65 at the lakefront, at 65 this morning in Lansing as well. The brother of George Floyd testified on Capitol Hill about the anguish his family has felt after seeing his brother killed by Minneapolis police. Testifying at a House hearing, Philonise Floyd vowed to do everything possible to ensure that his brother did not die in vain. Floyd's death has sparked nationwide protests and calls for police reforms.
Enough is enough. The people marching in the streets are telling you enough is enough.
Floyd claims his brother wasn't hurting anyone and didn't deserve to die over $20. That reference to the reason Floyd was stopped in the first place by officers. He was suspected of using a counterfeit bill in a store. A police oversight agency is recommending punishment for a Chicago police officer accused of using offensive slang toward protesters. Here's WGN's Vic Vaughn.
The Civilian Office of Police Accountability says the officer should be stripped of police powers. He was caught on cell phone video yelling a gay slur at protesters after they threw a traffic cone at him. That video then went viral online. CPD has yet to announce its own findings of the incident or what action it'll take. Vic Vaughn, WGN News.
Students from DePaul University took to the streets of Lincoln Park yesterday to protest. Their demonstration shut down some streets as they took a knee in solidarity. The group is calling for DePaul to end its relationship with the Chicago Police Department. They also want the police department to be defunded and have called on that money to be used in other ways. Illinois U.S. Senator Dick Durbin joining other senators in sponsoring the Justice in Policing Act. He's calling on Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to bring the bill to the Senate for an immediate vote. He says the changes in the bill that would come about if it's passed.
The Justice in Policing Act also requires the use of dashboard cameras and body cameras for federal officers, state and local law enforcement. Our bill establishes a national police misconduct registry to prevent officers who've engaged in misconduct from simply moving to another department without accountability.
The bill also bans the use of chokeholds and no-knock warrants. Another week and another 1.5 million Americans filing new unemployment benefit for new unemployment benefits. The latest on the data now from WGN's Ryan Burrow.
There were about 82,000 fewer new unemployment claims filed across the country last week compared to the week before. In Illinois, there were nearly 45,000 residents who filed new unemployment claims in the week ending June 6th. That's about 1,500 fewer claims filed from the week prior. However, there were increases in new unemployment claims filed in Indiana, up about 700, and Wisconsin up more than 1,000 from the week before. Ryan Burrow, WGN News.
The world's tallest living dog is chomping down on the record books again. Freddie is now also the oldest living Great Dane. He just turned 8 years old a couple of weeks ago and celebrated with a garden party of treats and toys. He towered over his guests, standing almost 4 feet on all 4 paws. If he stood up on the back 2 paws, he's well over 7 feet tall. His owner says he weighs around 210 pounds, eats about $600 a month in food. Now with WGN Sports, here's Dave Ennett.
I'm sorry, $600 a month?
$600 a month.
I don't eat $600 a month. Sounds like there is going to be a baseball season one way or the other, and the other might just be a unilateral decision by Commissioner Rob Manfred. He said during last night's draft coverage that unequivocally they will play. He's hoping there will be an agreement with the union, but says their number, 89 games, is unrealistic. So is getting full salary for that many games, but Manfred can go ahead and start the season for about 48 games. Last night, the draft, the White Sox took Tennessee left-hander Garrett Crochet on the first round. Cubs drafted a local guy, Ed Howard, a shortstop from Mount Carmel, and a member of the Jackie Robinson West Little Leaguers who played in the Little League World Series. Former major leaguer Claudell Washington has died. He played 3 years for the White Sox. In his 17-year big league career, he was 65. And pro golf is underway again in Texas. The Charles Schwab Challenge. Ryan Palmer and Brian Harmon sharing the lead at 3 under par in the first round. I'm Dave Ennett, WGN Sports.
Your money on WGN, sponsored by T-Mobile for Business. Visit T-MobileForBusiness.com. A day after the Fed chairman gave a grim outlook for the future, stocks are falling hard at the open on Wall Street. The Dow Jones was down more than 900 points right after the opening bell. Shaved a little off that, now off about 800 points. That's about 3%. The S&P and NASDAQ are lower by nearly 2 to 2.5% each as well. The Dow right now at 26,160 points. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell's forecast for the coming months provided a reality check for investors. Apparently, they're also concerned about a spike in COVID-19 cases in a number of states that reopened. The Federal Reserve, by the way, says it will keep interest rates where they're at, near zero through 2022. Sees the U.S. economy bouncing back 5% next year after a big drop in GDP through the rest of this year. Regeneron Pharmaceuticals has announced today it's starting the first clinical trial of its experimental coronavirus antibody drug. The antibody cocktail is being tested in 4 human populations. 2 groups of people will receive the drug to test its effectiveness as a treatment for COVID-19. The other 2 will receive it as a possible prevention. And I'm Steve Grzanich on Chicago's very own 720 WGN.
How you doing this morning? Thanks for being with us. Bob Sirott and company with you at 8:38. Yesterday in this time period, we talked with the Fraternal Order of Police president and a guy who was a Chicago police officer for 25 years before he was elected to that post. And his name is John Catanzara. And at some point, I think the conversation kind of went off the rails. And listeners had a lot to say. We'll get to some of your emails and texts in a moment. This is one of the things that I think set a lot of people off. I asked John about police who were kneeling and marching and praying with protesters, and I thought that was something nice. And this is what he said.
I've made it very clear to the members of Lodge 7 that that has no place for our members. That is contradicting to our Constitution as a lodge, and it definitely deflates anything remotely associated with fraternalism. And as such, any member of Lodge 7 who is going to take a knee and basically side with protesters while they're in uniform will subject themselves to discipline in the lodge, up to and including expulsion from Lodge 7.
So you would argue as somebody who is siding for justice and fairness for all?
What you do on your time is your time. When you're doing it in a uniform, you are representing the police department, and as such, you are representing yourself as a member of Lodge 7. So, yes.
He made his points yesterday, the Fraternal Order of Police President John Catanzara. Here's some of what people had to say after that interview. Bob, this guy's an idiot. Why is he on your show? What? Who is this guy? We are in trouble. Pull the plug on this idiot. Wow, this guy speaking is an ignorant fool. Which of the most recent deaths by police were on violent criminals? George Floyd was accused of using a counterfeit $20 bill. How is that violent? He is making our point for us. Bob, I feel like you are baiting your guest. Please stop. I can't believe what a hateful jerk this FOP guy is. This guy is what's wrong with police in general. Thank you, Bob. This guy is a thug racist. This guest seems like a poor representation of the FOP. I totally agree with the policeman you're interviewing. This man is not a true representation of our police force. He should be replaced. Herein lies the problem. Police force needs restructuring. Please do not give voice to this racist profiling man anymore. How can he say the George Floyd murder was not racial? WGN, I used to listen to you all day long, but there have been so many changes. Now I don't. I know, Bob, you're trying to fight the good fight with this man, but please do us all a favor and stop your conversation. He is clearly not interested in justice or equity. So sad. Who is this police officer? He's completely racist. Shame on you for having him on your show. This guy epitomizes the problem with getting rid of bad cops, the unions. Good job, Bob. There was looting on the northwest side, and also all of Milwaukee Avenue from Devon on south is boarded up. This was in response to his comments about that. Is this a Nazi speaking? The man is a fool. Got this email from a third-generation law enforcement family member. If you're going to talk about what the FOP president said yesterday, you must talk about who this guy is and why his election by 55% of the rank and file reflects a problem with Chicago cops who apparently have learned nothing from the Laquan McDonald killing. This man is quite abrasive and annoying. You are being quite patient. This interview is why people hate the police unions. They think they're gods that are above the law and make excuses for all their dirty cops. The definition of insanity is to continue doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Things need to change. It's not the 60s anymore. Bob, you're doing a great job with this very odd interview. I'm not sure what he is talking about. I hope Mayor Lightfoot hears this. It is his mentality that is exactly the pervasive issue. This guy does not represent the goodness or intellect of cops like me, says this person, who obviously is an officer. For him to go into an interview talking about CIT and talking like that indicates he did not really hear anything from the training. The police unions need to go. Thank you, Bob. This is one of the greatest interviews I've heard on the current crisis. What an ass. You brought out his true colors very quickly. Guys like this show that we have a big problem. This is the problem. That exact mentality is why we are where we are, and we need this mentality to change, and it is happening. Change is what we need. Thank you. Bravo to this guy you interviewed. He is bravely saying things that need to be said. Is this a mafia boss? Bob, you missed his point. The violence is made in 4 neighborhoods that are primarily made up of African Americans, so naturally the arrests will be there. I'd like to buy this guy a beer. Bob, your argument is weak. You started out from a weak position, and on this one you will lose, says Ernie. Got a text here that said if Roe or John would have done the interview, John Williams, Roe Khan, they would have eaten him. Sirott is a wimp. We have some thoughtful critiques, I must say. A little bit more of that and more of what the Fraternal Order of Police President John Catanzara said to us yesterday that kind of set a lot of people off one way or the other. We'll do that after a quick update on a couple of things, including our weather, which is going to be good for walking and jogging and biking today. And I think I'll do my own moment of zen here to get away from this while you update us, Steve.
Yeah, maybe even fishing, too. I like the listener's idea earlier. I think he and his son said they were going fishing today. It's going to be perfect for just about anything. Sunny skies today with temperatures around 80 degrees. Just a slight chance for a little rain later in the day with, again, that high near 80. Gusty winds, too, up near 30 miles per hour. Then clear overnight, low down to 60. Mainly sunny tomorrow, high near 77. Right now in Chicago with sunshine at 65 at O'Hare, 66 at Midway, 65 at the Lakefront.
For the first time in 3 months, the PGA Tour is back in action. The Charles Schwab Challenge in Fort Worth. The tour says all golfers, caddies, and personnel were tested, 487 in all, and all tests came back negative. NBA players are concerned about being penned up in a bubble in Orlando when play resumes. ESPN reports players have been talking about those concerns, which involve being prohibited from leaving the Disney World grounds and having no visitors the first 7 weeks they're there. And the White Sox take Tennessee left-hander Garrett Crochet. The Cubs mount Carmel shortstop Ed Howard in the first round of the MLB draft.
Watch for this accident on I-80 eastbound. It's still at Chicago Street, blocking the left lane, causing big delays. There's also some bridge work near the Des Plaines River Bridge, backing traffic up as well. Otherwise, no delays on the Edens. The Kennedy looks great, along with the Eisenhower in both directions. Stevenson is fine in from the Tri-State, only 20 minutes. Dan Ryan, 15 from 95th, heading into downtown. Accident also reported outbound Eisenhower at Wolf, in Downers Grove, an accident Belmont and 63rd, and in Highland Park at US 41 at Half Day. I'm Mary Vandeveld from the IDOT Traffic Center, reminding you to drive responsibly. It really is a matter of life or death.
It's almost 8:49, and we're talking about what happened here yesterday when we chatted with the Fraternal Order of Police President John Catanzara, and I think I was, among other points, trying to make the argument that police do have to be held more accountable, and if I'm one of the many good, fair, decent cops, I would welcome that. The president of the FOP had some pointed words directed at Mayor Lightfoot, too. Here's a little bit of what he had to say near the end of our show yesterday.
At what point do we stop saying it's the police's fault and start saying it's a societal problem of disrespect and a lack of personal accountability that's not being taught at an early age? And people think they can do whatever they want, that rules don't matter. The mayor is a perfect example of rules don't matter. She's sitting there calling for the firing of a police officer, but she's going to turn around and she's going to give an excuse why her comments to the president were acceptable.
What the mayor had to say yesterday was we absolutely have to have reform and accountability of our police department, but equally imperative and urgent is the absolute necessity of investing in communities. And it's interesting to note cities like Camden, New Jersey, which used to be one of the most violent cities in the country. They dissolved their department, their police department, in 2012 and replaced it with a new one, much reformed. They did hire many officers, rehire many officers, and now 7 years later, crime has been cut in half. They have these outdoor neighborhood parties. Community policing seems to be working well for them. And I like what Clarence Page wrote in the Tribune the other day. Community policing in particular is an often underappreciated set of strategies for getting police out of their squad cars and into the communities they are sworn to serve. Improving community relations and violence reduction programs helps police work with victims and witnesses more closely and in turn reduce crime rates. Clarence Page arguing on the side of diverting some funds to other organizations so you can free the police so other professionals can help with calls involving homeless people or mental health or drug issues. A little bit more of what you had to say about all that yesterday. Cops that don't get complaints are cops that don't work. Interesting conversation. Wow, this guy is scary. If he's the one who represents the rank and file department, we need to start retraining from him on down. Until we get it right, we need oversight and training, better screening and psych screening for applicants too. This guy is actually a cop, question mark? Yes, he was for 25 years. This guy seems like he's part of the problem that we have in the police department today. Let's see. Bob needs to pay attention to what his guests are saying. The man he just spoke to is very clear and to the point. Bob totally missed the point. I had to turn my radio off. You want the police to join with the protesters while they're on duty? That is what you just said. By virtue of the job they are supposed to be doing, they are supposed to protect and observe, not join. Email from Lynn. I was listening to you and your guest. Realized that since the 60s, authority was booed. Police are working under terrible societal culture. Apologize. Oh my gosh, Bob, you've been here through the 60s. This is the same rhetoric and denial we've been hearing for decades. Is this guy going to defend Burge too? John Burge he's talking about. Bob Sirott showed his true liberal colors with that interview. Wow, is this president of police department a jerk or what? He's not the president of the police department. He's the FOP president. Bob, great job in this interview, and you handled it perfectly. The way you phrased that was just like asking, when did you stop beating your wife? I thought it was supposed to be an honest discourse and interview. Your bias, Bob, is showing when you manipulate in that way. Now this, I like this one. Dear Bob, you deserve a glass of wine with your breakfast this morning. What a tough interview. Well done. Peacefully disagreeing. And let me end with this thoughtful comment. We got a lot of interesting critiques, I must say. This came in from somebody anonymously with a photo. I did this yesterday morning. I was so appreciative for what these 3 Chicago police officers did for me. I'm getting ready to do the Route 66 trip on Saturday morning. Did a little test run downtown just to see if I would be able to get the picture of the Route 66 Begins sign in Chicago, along with my Corvette and me all in the same shot. Well, I pulled up to a spot that I knew wouldn't work. I walked up to three of Chicago's finest and explained what I wanted to do. They directed me to circle the block and come back so they could get me into position for the picture. I came back around. Two of them stood close to the car, protecting it from traffic, and one took my phone. She snapped a few pictures for me and told me that she would like to be standing at the Pacific Ocean when I got there next week. One of the officers started talking about Corvettes with me. Turns out he has a 2009. Standing in the middle of downtown Chicago, surrounded by boarded-up hotel windows, where God only knows what is going to happen to them next, these brave officers took the time to do something special for this old guy. Maybe it gave them a minute or two to smile and relax. I thanked them, and we bumped elbows. Then the lady officer told me to get moving before she wrote me for a parking ticket next to a fire hydrant. She laughed. I left. I didn't tell them, but my best friend, who had passed away recently, was a Chicago copper. I think he was standing there with his hand on my shoulder. I'm glad that I have a good cop story to tell. Yes, there are lots of those nice little gestures the fair and decent police do every day that never get on the news. But thanks to all for sharing your opinions and for listening.
I think it's clearly a consensus, Bob, on your performance on the interview.
Well, it's very unscientific that I think about, I would say 80 to 90% of the reaction was positive about things and understanding of what I was trying to do. And then, 10 or 15 or 20%, maybe, I don't know, angry for one reason or another, either at the way the interview was conducted or at my opinion, which I didn't, again, think was that controversial. But you know what? Judge for yourself, because you can hear the whole interview. It's at WGNradio.com. You go to WGNradio.com/Sirott, and there it is.
Oh, my 2 cents, I thought you did a great job.
Well, thank you. But then again, you have to say that.
No, I
don't. Well, yeah, I would hope that you would take me to task. Mary, that goes for you. Grzanich, you too. But, we don't often deal in that kind of controversy because our philosophy here in the morning is just tell me if the world still exists and leave me alone, and what's the weather and traffic and what happened in sports
and whether the murder hornets are going to kill me today.
Right. Yeah, I can't handle much else. It's nobody likes getting up early. So anyway, where's the moment of zen when you need it? We'll be back to wrap things up here, and what else will we do? I don't know. I'll think of something. The news is coming up at 9 from the Northwestern Medicine newsroom. And then John Williams, who I guess got into it about this on his show yesterday. So everybody got into it yesterday. And I think I'm done right now. Thank you very much. Our world has changed, that's for sure. When you go outside and get around, you need that face covering. It's the new norm, and the kind you use does matter. Not all offer the same protection, and everybody wants the best protection from dangerous particles and bacteria floating around in the air. Well, a highly recommended consumer covering is Boomer Naturals 30-day, 30-use protective face cover in sizes for adults and kids. You've heard about them, and what are you waiting for? Get these. They're great. Made with 3 cloth layers infused with nanosilver technology, which can reduce particles getting to your nose and mouth. A lot of studies show how effective nanosilver technology is with face coverings. It's also very comfortable, easy to breathe and speak with, made for breathable protection, even for those with sensitive skin. These face covers can be used up to 30 days if you just hand wash with soap and water at the end of the day, and then you're all set. Boomer makes them very affordable, less than 30 cents a day. Order at boomernaturals.com. Use code BOB20 at checkout and save 20%. Get free shipping and handling when you spend $50. That's boomernaturals.com. Keep calm and carry out. That's what I say. John Williams is coming up shortly. And that's what we need, some of John's jokes. My head is exploding. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Thanks for listening today. Have a great day. Enjoy the weather. And we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. Excelsior!
Social media tweet.
The Sox take a pitcher, the Cubs take a hometown shortstop in last night's MLB draft.
In business, the day on Wall Street has begun with big losses. The Dow is down nearly 800 points this morning. S&P and NASDAQ futures are off from 2 to 2.5%. Now an update on WGN traffic. Here's Mary Vandeveld.
And traffic is sponsored by CVS. Still clearing this accident involving a semi. It's on I-80 eastbound at Chicago Street. Left lane is still blocked with that. There's also bridge work near the Des Plaines River Bridge, holding up traffic as well. The Edens, however, is in good shape along with the Kennedy. Eisenhower outbound at Wolf, an accident off to the side. No troubles inbound. Stevenson in good shape along with the Ryan, the Bishop Ford, and 57. Road work that will start tonight at 8 o'clock. It was postponed from a week ago. The ramp on the inbound Ike to northbound Kennedy towards Wisconsin is going to be closing until the middle of October. That's about 4 months. A detour will take you to the outbound Ryan to Taylor Street for a U-turn heading back onto the Ryan. CVS Pharmacy delivers, and right now, to meet the needs of the current health situation, they're offering free 1 to 2 day delivery of prescriptions and other store essentials. Visit CVS.com or call your local CVS pharmacy to get started. Restrictions apply. I'm Mary Vandeveld from the IDOT Traffic Center, reminding you to drive responsibly. It really is a matter of life or death.
Now the forecast from the WGN Chicago Weather Center. Here's meteorologist Morgan Kolkmeyer.
Hi, good morning. We've got temps starting out in the 50s and 60s, which is in some spots nearly 20 degrees cooler than yesterday morning. And we'll see high temperatures make it to right around 80 today. A west wind 5 to 10 miles per hour in the morning picks up 10 to 15 today, and gusts occasionally near 30. That is allowing us all to warm up into those upper 70s and lower 80s this afternoon. Mostly sunny and mainly dry. Might see a sprinkle or two in your late afternoon, early evening. Otherwise, pretty quiet day for us. Mostly clear overnight with a temp near 60 for a low. And then tomorrow, sunny, upper 70s with low 70s lakeside. From the WGN Weather Center, I'm Morgan Kolkmeyer.
It's 68 with sunshine right now in Chicago at O'Hare, 67 at the lakefront, 68 at Midway. It's 68 this morning in Gary. District 211 is investigating a teacher at Palatine High School after making a social media post that students and parents say is racist. The since-deleted post equates the term white privilege to the N-word. Teacher goes on to say that people who think America is racist have been hoodwinked by the liberal establishment. School officials responded to the post by denouncing racism and discrimination, but current and former Palatine High School students are calling on the teacher to be fired. Here's Palatine High alum Aaliyah Holloway.
That is in no relation the same as saying the N-word, and that just shocked me that she said that, because it's not the same.
In a statement, District 211 says in part they opened an investigation after learning about the social media post, and that once it's complete, the school district will follow up with appropriate measures. District 211 went on to say that they apologize for any hurt caused by the post, says the comments by the teacher do not reflect the values or principles of the district. WGN is not identifying that teacher as of now. More businesses in Indiana will get to reopen tomorrow, 2 days ahead of schedule. They include movie theaters, bars, museums, and amusement parks. Under a new state order announced by the governor of Indiana, social gatherings of up to 250 people will be allowed. Retail stores and malls can operate at full capacity. Restaurants will be allowed 75% capacity in dining rooms, and bars, nightclubs, those movie theaters, and bowling alleys can operate at 50% capacity. Illinois Republican lawmakers are sharply criticizing Governor Pritzker over his COVID-19 shutdown. In a series of tweets, Republicans blasted the governor for marching with George Floyd protesters. They call the governor two-faced for not allowing his own not following his own COVID-19 rules, which ban gatherings of more than 10 people. The governor yesterday defended his actions.
Sometimes I go places and it's very difficult to get socially distanced when an awful lot of people show up, and I'm not going to run away. And especially at this moment, it's important to express ourselves. It's important to have the governor stand with them on issues that are important to the state.
Some Republican state senators have sent another letter to the governor asking that he lift more COVID-19 restrictions. The Shed Aquarium is the latest Chicago institution to let workers go because of COVID-19. More from WGN's Pam Jones.
Yesterday, officials at the Shed Aquarium announced they're laying off 36 workers and furloughing 171 after June 20th. Federal relief funds will help the museum pay workers until then. The Shed, along with the rest of Chicago's museums, has been closed since mid-March. Most have announced layoffs in recent weeks. Pam Jones, WGN News.
The longest-serving Chicago firefighter on the job is calling it a career. Battalion Chief Jimmy O'Donnell started in 1979. He's witnessed some of the biggest events in CFD history, including the deadly heat wave in 1995 that claimed hundreds of lives. An injury on the job cost O'Donnell an eye, and he could have retired then, but chose to continue on because of his love for the job. Now with WGN Neighborhood News, here's Kim Gordon.
Drive-ins are back. The Chicago Drive-In Theater opens tonight at SeatGeek Stadium in Bridgeview. The gates open at 7 every night with movies starting at 8:30, 7 days a week. There are midnight movies on Fridays and Saturdays. Tickets are available at chicagodrivein.com. Tickets start at $30. Concessions are also available. I'm Kim Gordon with Neighborhood News on 720 WGN.
Now with WGN Sports, here's Dave Ennett.
And good morning. There's no baseball right now, but there will be at some point, and the future is what last night was all about as MLB held its annual draft. More of a challenge this year with the high school and college seasons all but wiped out by the pandemic. But the White Sox saw enough of Tennessee left-hander Garrett Crochet to take him on the first round. Here's WGN's Kevin Powell.
The first comparison you'll hear when someone mentions Garrett Crochet is Chris Sale.
I definitely see the similarities, and actually when I was developing my slider, I kind of tried to shape it the same way that his is. So he was definitely a mentor for me that I kind of viewed from social media platforms and just watching as he played.
The hard-throwing lefty regularly sits in the mid to upper 90s with a wipeout slider. The junior out of Tennessee struck out just over 10 batters per 9 innings over 36 appearances at Tennessee.
Sox passed on Mount Carmel's shortstop Ed Howard. The Cubs did not. They took him 5 picks later. The 18-year-old Howard played on the Jackie Robinson West Little League team in 2014. It's the first time the Cubs have taken a high schooler on the first round since Albert Almora Jr. Commissioner Rob Manfred said on the draft last night it's 100% sure there will be baseball. How many games still to be determined. And Blackhawks players have begun individualized workouts, and today we'll hear from both Coach Jeremy Colliton and GM Stan Bowman for the first time since the season was halted in March. Dave Ennett, WGN Sports.
Your money on WGN. Let's get the latest on Wall Street and agribusiness with Orion Samuelson.
Stock market opened sharply lower today with the Nasdaq falling after a 4-day rally. Fears of a second wave of coronavirus infections, plus the grim economic forecast from the Federal Reserve that was issued yesterday. The numbers right now, the Dow Industrial Average is down 835 points, the S&P 500 down 81, the Nasdaq is down 211, and the worry factor VIX at the CBOE is up 3 points. Oil prices dropped today, too, dragged down by another record buildup in U.S. crude inventories, and Brent crude down 6.6%, or $2.74 a barrel, and U.S. crude is down 7.6%, $3.02 a barrel. Turning to the grain trade at the Chicago Board of Trade, first of all, more buying of soybeans from the United States by China. So far this morning, we've gotten reports of a sale of 720,000 metric tons of soybeans for delivery to China. So the numbers for the July contracts at the Chicago Board of Trade: July wheat is down 1/4 penny, $5.06 a bushel. July corn up 3 cents at $3.30 1/2.
And July soybeans down 0.75 cents, $8.64 3/4. And livestock futures, Chicago Mercantile Exchange. The June lean hog contract is up 20 cents a hundredweight. June live cattle down 12 cents. And the August feeder cattle contract down $2.20 a hundredweight. That's your money on 720 WGN.
And I'm Steve Grzanich on Chicago's very own 720 WGN.
Secretary of State facilities are now open, but until July 31st, only new drivers and those with expired licenses and IDs will be served. Vehicle stickers can also be renewed. There's no need to rush in. All expiration dates have been extended, and the Real ID deadline is now October 2021. Safety measures, including social distancing, are in place, so please be patient. Avoid lines by renewing online or by phone. For more information, visit cyberdriveillinois.com.
Hey guys, don't mind me as I interrupt your radio program. It's Sue Cosner, sexual health expert on men's performance in the bedroom. Do me a favor and don't touch that dial. That's a mistake. If you've been listening to this radio station, you've probably heard a compelling radio ad for Noxitril, the potent all-natural male enhancement pill. Men constantly reach out and ask me, does this Noxitril really work? Or is it just another scam product? I can tell you there's nothing better than Noxitril. I recommend this super pill to men everywhere. It will transform your life in the bedroom once and for all. Strong, powerful results that increase your blood flow fast. No prescription, no side effects. Just imagine Viagra on steroids. So call Noxitril now and take advantage of an incredible free bottle offer, shipped discreetly to your door.
Call right now and get your free supply. Call 800-480-8329. That's 800-480-8329. It's like Viagra on steroids. Improve your sex life with your free supply. Call 800-480-8329. That's 1-800-480-8329.
Good morning. It's 9:11. This is WGN. I'm John Williams. Another busy show for you. Planned on another beautiful day. We've suffered. We deserve days like this. I don't know what this costs, but I think it's worth every dime.
I'm in.
Yeah. Grzanich, you got 50 cents. Mary, 50 cents for this day?
Yeah, I'll put in $1.
Yeah, for sure.
What's the current conditions again, Steve Grzanich?
We right now with sunshine at O'Hare at 68 degrees.
And the high temperature today is expected to be?
Only about 80, and then cooler than that tomorrow as well.
Don't want to quibble, but I would prefer 84, 85.
Me too.
Not me.
I'm fine with it right around 80, 75 to 80.
Yes.
That's what you're getting, man.
It's perfect. Nice running weather today.
It beats yesterday where all of a sudden you look up and go, oh my God, there's a hurricane outside, and it was humid and hot, and then it was cool. And it was just like one of those days. We'll do our speed joke round as we always do at 9:38. Speed jokes will come your way at 9:38. And thanks for the jokes that you send in to us. You can always email your jokes to johnwilliams@wgnradio.com. There's a big question in this city today, and that is a couple of weekends ago when the mayor convened a teleconference with the Chicago City Council. All 50 alder people were on the call, and it got a little testy. Coarse words were exchanged. Imagine if Rahm Emanuel were on that call. I'm not worried about the bad language that the mayor or the alder people used. The city was burning. Emotions were high. So let's not worry about if somebody said, I disagree with you, and they said it in a very profane way. Although, what do you know? Little Lori kind of has a dirty mouth. But Rahm Emanuel did too. So that's really beside the point. A couple of things matter here. Did the city lose control of the streets? Roe talked about that eloquently and intelligently yesterday on his afternoon show. And in this call, where Ray Lopez and some of the other alder people are mad at the mayor, and the mayor is dismissive of them because that's her attitude, and I think she needs to sort of think, how can I best manage people? Anyway, the call gets leaked. Ray Lopez is going to join us in about 25 minutes. We'll ask him if he was the leaker. Ella said, you got to take a break. Let me take a break.
Yeah, the one question about the Lopez story, too, is whether or not that recording was legally made.
Right.
Because in Illinois, you do have to inform people that you're recording them if you're recording them.
Shockingly, the mayor said, I'm not critical of the mayor. I know that, frankly, I think we're all upset with everybody just a little bit these days, and I still think Lori does a good job. Lori Lightfoot, all due respect. She says that it was a legal meeting. The ACLU has opined that it was probably not, but I'm not even hung up on that, to be honest with you. I mean, whatever.
but should you be releasing that audio? Who does that serve? So it's 9:14. Let's pause here. I want you to hear the preview of the speed joke. You'll be asked to provide the punchline. But first, let's just check more on that sunny disposition and forecast from Steve Grzanich.
So yesterday about this time, the dew point reading was above 70, which shows you how humid it is. The dew point reading this morning is about 48, and the relative humidity is about 48%. It was 95% yesterday morning. So you're noticing that huge difference. Lots of sunshine everywhere this morning, and that's going to continue for today. A high near 80, maybe a few sprinkles later in the day. Low down to 60 tonight, mainly sunny tomorrow, 77 for a high, but cooler at the lakefront. On Saturday, plenty of sunshine, 67 for a high, but cooler at the lakefront. Mainly sunny on Sunday, and a high near 70 as well. 68 now at O'Hare and Midway, 67 at the lakefront.
The baseball commissioner says he's 100% sure there will be a season. Rob Manfred made the statement last night during the draft, in which the White Sox took Tennessee left-hander Garrett Crochet on the first round, 11th overall. The Cubs took a hometown guy, Ed Howard, shortstop from Mount Carmel. And golf is underway. The Charles Schwab Challenge. Justin Rose has the lead at 3 under par, one shot up on several others. Dustin Johnson and Phil Mickelson both out at even par.
Watch for an accident outbound side of the Eisenhower 25th. Right lane is blocked. Some minor delays there, especially from 17th. No delays on the Edens or the Kennedy. Stevenson in good shape, along with the Ryan and the Tolls. I-80 eastbound. Good news, that accident at Chicago Avenue, or Chicago Street rather, has just been cleared. Also, some reconstruction on the south side today starts up on the bridge over the river to close northbound Loomis from Eleanor to Cermak until the fall. Southbound one lane is open. I'm Mary Vandeveld from the IDOT Traffic Center, reminding you to drive responsibly. It really is a matter of life or death.
A deadly virus. Communities ravaged. Victories. Defeats. Strength. Maybe this year more than any in the past, we can all relate a little more to the concept of pride. The idea that we really are all in this together, and together we're stronger. In the month of June, Jewel Osco invites you to pay a virtual visit to our proud place in the LGBT plus community by visiting WGNradio.com/pride. Resilience, strength, community. Jewel Osco, local since 1899.
In the past few months, we've discovered that heroes come in all shapes and sizes. From burly first responders to the petite nurse working extra shifts, there have been people from all walks of life coming up big. With over 31,000 associates on the front lines, Jewel Osco has superheroes wearing everything from deli aprons to tech coats to bright orange safety vests. Whatever job they're doing, we take great pride in the way Jewel Osco people stepped up to provide essential services during these challenging times. We're all in this together.
There's drama in the mountains. A man solves a riddle and finds a long-lost $1 million treasure in the Rocky Mountains. But a Rogers Park woman says, hang on, it's mine. Plus stories from the cancel culture. Does a business's politics or values matter to you when you shop there? All that and more. I'm Anna Devlantis at 1 o'clock. WGN.
It's 9:17. Thank you, Anna. Actually, I think I left $1 million in the Rocky Mountains. Remember, Dave? I said, hey, I'm going to put it right here, and then we forgot to go back and get it.
I do remember that.
I think that's my $1 million. As Illinois reopens, everyone is required to wear masks when going out if you can't socially distance. Chicago-based EW Masks got you covered. EWmasks.com has a comprehensive selection of face masks, great prices, volume discounts. Don't be fooled by other companies with some outrageous claims. EW Masks follow the strict regulations regarding masks set forth by the FDA. If you're an employer and you need to buy in bulk for your customers or employees, or maybe you're just an individual and you want to be safe and responsible, EW Masks got you covered. I wear EW masks. I've tried so many. How many different kinds of masks have you tried? I've tried a bunch. These are the most comfortable ones I have worn. And you can pick them up today. You order online, and they've got a curbside pickup location in Chicago, 1317 West North Avenue, or they'll mail them to you. EWmasks.com has you covered.
This week on Chicago's Best, it's time for a classic stacked and piled high at Chicago's Best Burgers, curbside and delivery special. Sunday night at 10:30 on WGN TV.
We'll put a smile on your face at 9:38, our speed jokes. What kind of cars do deep sea drivers drive? Deep sea divers. What kind of cars do deep sea divers drive?
Because deep sea drivers, that's a whole different joke.
What kind of cars do deep sea divers drive? You'll be asked to provide the punchline at 9:38 when we do speed jokes. And somebody else said, hey, John Williams, I really like the speed jokes you do, and have shared the link with my friends. It's a much-needed respite given all that's going on. Please keep them going. To that end, I offer the following joke for possible on-air consideration. It's a STEM joke, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. One physicist says to the other, what's new? And the other replies, C over lambda. And that's the joke. And then he says, here's the explanation. It's the formula for the frequency of light waves. NU denotes the frequency of light waves, which is equal to C, which denotes the speed of light, divided by lambda, which denotes the wavelength of light waves, as written with the Greek letters U equals C over lambda. So the one guy goes, hey, what's new? And the other guy goes, C over lambda. We're not telling that joke during speed jokes.
What?
Are you kidding me? I mean, God bless you, Robert, but you're just too smart for this room.
I felt like I was back in the sorority taking a test.
You know what it reminds me of, Mary? It's the Steve Martin plumber joke. Do you remember the Steve Martin plumber joke?
I don't like to gear my material to the audience, but I'd like to make an exception because I was told that there is a convention of plumbers in San Francisco this week, and I understand about 30 of them came down to the show tonight. So before I came out, I worked up a joke especially for the plumbers. And now those of you who aren't plumbers probably won't get this and won't think it's funny, but I think those of you who are plumbers will really enjoy this. And so if you're not a plumber, please just bear with me for a while and just kind of, hold off on this. But I would like to do this for the plumbers. So here we go. This lawn supervisor was out on a sprinkler maintenance job. And he started working on a Finlay sprinkler head with a Langstrom 7-inch gangly wrench. Well, just then a little apprentice leaned over and said, you can't work on a Finlay sprinkler head with a Langstrom 7-inch wrench. Well, this infuriated the supervisor, so he went and got volume 14 of the Kinsley manual. And he reads to him and says, the Langstrom 7-inch wrench can be used with a Finlay sprocket. Just then, the little apprentice leaned over and says, it says sprocket, not socket. Are those plumbers supposed to be here this show, or is that...
I quote that joke sometimes. I love that joke. It's one of my all-time favorite jokes. I don't know what he's talking about. Thank you, Steve Martin. It's 9:21. Todd called in, not because of that. You're on WGN. Todd, what can we do for you this morning? Hi.
Hi, John. Awesome show.
Thank you, sir.
Big, huge help for me the last few months. I was on furlough from work. I work at a retail sports store up in the northwest suburbs. I'm not sure how much you or your audience shop in retail lately, but it has definitely changed.
For the better?
It's weird with the whole curbside thing. Our store opened up 2 Fridays ago. Again, we were shut down doing like online orders, but to have people back in the store again was great.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of a weird vibe with retail customers coming in anxious, worried, and it's just a difficult thing. We sell a lot of footwear items, a lot of hard good items, and it's just, I don't know. I just wanted to call you and tell you that from working at a retail standpoint and seeing the feedback from customers is just, it's just kind of a different environment.
I'm sure it is. I described a couple of times my experience at Best Buy because I had to get some computer stuff. And I was supposed if I was working at Dick's Sporting Goods, again, it would be a very tactile environment. It's weird to see people with masks. But are you allowing people to just walk about freely in the store and shop like I would at a grocery store now?
Yes. 2 Fridays ago, we opened up again, and it was great to see human beings walking through the store again.
Yeah.
That felt really great.
How are people behaving? Are they wearing masks and being considerate?
Yes, they are for the most part. Yeah. Every once in a while we'll have an occasion, but we have, we're addressed with the fact that they have to wear them, and they're pretty cooperative.
Yeah.
But they seem very anxious.
Are you a little anxious as an employee? Because I'm in and out. You're there for 8 hours, say. Is it making you a little nervous?
No, I'm just glad to be back.
Yeah. Getting a paycheck.
You know, I'm glad to be back and having a paycheck coming in.
Were you on unemployment, Todd?
I actually went on unemployment. I was furloughed, and I went on unemployment, but wasn't successful in getting my payments.
Wait, welcome to Illinois. So you have not received any unemployment compensation. Did you get the extra $600 from the federal government?
I did not.
Did you get $1,200 from the federal government, the stimulus?
I did. I did get that.
But it sounds I'll bet you are due unemployment compensation.
Right. I have not seen that in the mail yet. I was successfully able to go online and file for unemployment after I was furloughed and succeeded, but didn't see the checks in the mail.
Still haven't.
So I'm guessing they're hung up somewhere else.
How many weeks were you off? Like, how many weeks are you due of unemployment then?
Well, actually 4.
So that would be $2,400 alone for the extra $600 plus the unemployment compensation. I'm sorry, that's not why you called, but I'm just very interested in those experiences and angry and sorry for those of you that aren't getting it. But I'm also glad that you're open. So and by the way, Todd, I need ping pong balls. So I'm going to come out to your place.
Oh, we have a ton of them. We have a ton of ping pong balls. What we don't have is weights.
Oh, yes.
So if you're looking for barbells or dumbbells or kayaks, or bikes, forget about bikes.
Really? You guys don't have bicycles right now at your store?
We get 24 in, we sell 24 the next day.
How about that? Yeah, that's what folks are doing. Todd, listen, I'm out of time. Good luck on getting that stimulus and unemployment, and thanks for telling us how it's going, okay?
Thank you, John.
Yeah, you have a good day. Lots of calls, but we want to do a couple of other things here. The news at the bottom of the hour. Alderman Ray Lopez talks about the safety of the streets during the rioting a couple of weeks ago. It's time for Walter Jacobson's perspective. This is sponsored by HearingHealthCenter.com.
That dear little ditty about 30 days has September, April, June, and November. Coming this November is our presidential election. Will the winner be Donald Trump or Joe Biden, with or without the interference of Vladimir Putin, who the federal government says is interfering already? To stop him, the politicians in Congress are promising and proposing legislation requiring election officials to expose Putin's interference and to put limits on political spending of any foreign agent, and legislation requiring the Trump and Biden campaigns to reveal their contacts with Russians, especially Russians. Federal intelligence is reporting that Putin is using the media to interfere, while the Congress is debating on how to do that and about whether to require the presidential campaigns to alert the FBI to foreign offers of assistance, and about whether to require the states to upgrade their election systems to detect foreign interference. That proposal is being stalled by Democrats and Republicans arguing about how much to pay for upgrades. Despite the urgency to prevent Russian interference, all proposals in Congress are being stalled by debates. That's American interference. There are just 5 months to go until we vote for president, and election security is just talk. Can you imagine anything dumber than that? I can't. I'm Walter Jacobson, and that's my perspective. For more, visit WTNradio.com or download the WTN Radio app. This is Walter Jacobson, waiting impatiently, like you, for more things to open up. But here I am, still recording from home. When one of my hearing aids went out, I was struggling to hear my kids or anyone from another room and couldn't understand people through those darn masks. Thank goodness all Hearing Health Center offices are now open. I was first one there on day one, and my hearing aids are working perfectly again. And here's some great news. All hearing aid manufacturers are now offering a stimulus check for up to $1,200 through Hearing Health Center. I got myself a spare set in case mine conk out. It's a limited time offer, so call 833-GO-HEARING to make an appointment. Hearing Health Center is protecting us by seeing only one patient at a time, so appointments are restricted. Call 833-GO-HEARING or book online at WGNHearing.com. In Chicago, Highland Park, Oak Brook, Naperville, or Park Ridge.
MegaPros has been the safest, cleanest resource for your home repairs and improvements for over 43 years. MegaPros want to help in any way you need. Questions or resources? Fast and friendly. Yes, we can help. Call 847-658-8989 or go to megapros.com.
Right now, it's so important to have your home properly cleaned. Clean your carpets, rugs, floors, tile, and upholstery. Hire Executive Green Carpet Cleaning for a level of clean no one else can deliver. I know the name is Executive Green Carpet Cleaning, but this is for your house and your business, Executive Green Carpet Cleaning. They invest in the world's most powerful truck mounts and carpet cleaning machines. They've got the premier equipment others just don't have. Executive Green Carpet Cleaning uses ultra-purified water with a safe, detergent-free pre-spray. They never apply harsh chemicals that leave a residue. Most importantly, they thoroughly scrub and agitate your carpet. I mean, your carpet will just be so annoyed. A step that other carpet cleaners neglect, and they leave your carpet with a nice, even-looking finish that is dry to the touch in just a couple of hours. For every single job, they utilize this system of important steps. They never take shortcuts. Call now. Get 3 rooms done for $139. If you're not satisfied, it's your money back. It's a guarantee. 630-990-8600. Call 630-990-8600 or schedule a visit at executivegreencarpetcleaning.com. Speed jokes after the news.
It's 68 degrees at 9:30. Good morning. I'm Steve Gratanich. The news is sponsored by Midwestern University Multi-Specialty Clinic. 2 million confirmed cases of COVID in the U.S. and growing concern about new spikes in cases.
The Cubs and Sox make their picks in the first round of the draft.
In business, after the first hour of trading on Wall Street, the Dow is down 910 points, more than 3%. NASDAQ and S&P lower by about 2 to 2.5% each as well. Now with WGN Traffic, here's Mary Vandeveld.
Traffic is sponsored by Plumbers911.com. Still some delays on I-80 heading eastbound from Chicago Street to Gauger because of an earlier accident. Also, bridge work near the Des Plaines River Bridge continues there. Outbound Eisenhower, an accident at 25th is now off to the side. All clear on the outbounds, or the Edens rather, the Kennedy looking good, along with the Stevenson and the Dan Ryan. CTA Red Line will not be stopping at Argyle and Lawrence until Friday night due to track work. Do you have a plumbing emergency at your home or business? Don't panic. Call Plumbers 911. Plumbers 911 provides Chicagoland with licensed and highly trained plumbers 24/7. Call Plumbers 911 at 1-833-PLUM-911. I'm Mary Vandeveld from the IDOT Traffic Center, reminding you to drive responsibly. It really is a matter of life or death.
Now the forecast from the Permaseal Weather Center. Mainly sunny today. Can't rule out a few sprinkles later. High near 80. Clear skies tonight. Low down to 60. And then mainly sunny tomorrow. High near 77. Little cooler at the lakefront. Sunshine 68 at O'Hare, Midway, and at the lakefront. It's 70 this morning in Joliet. There are now more than 2 million confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the United States, according to Johns Hopkins University. And health experts are increasingly concerned about spikes in new infections now and over the next few months. Dr. Jonathan Reiner at George Washington University says COVID-19 is still a significant threat in the U.S.
The virus hasn't gone away. It's not like we're looking for the second wave. The first wave isn't gone.
Meanwhile, the Harvard Global Health Initiative is predicting 100,000 more coronavirus-linked deaths in the U.S. by September. Here's Dr. Hashish Jha.
Right now, we have between 800 and 1,000 people dying every single day in America. And all of the models, all of the data suggests that things are going to get worse. We're going to have increases.
12 states have seen coronavirus hospitalizations rise since Memorial Day, when many states started reopening. That's according to data from the COVID Tracking Project. And there's been at least a 10% increase in week-to-week cases reported in 19 states, according to Johns Hopkins University. COVID-19 did play a role in the death of a Chicago infant. An autopsy has confirmed the 9-month-old died as a result of viral pneumonia due to a separate type of coronavirus plus COVID-19. Initial tests had conflicting results, but swab tests sent to the CDC did show both viruses. The baby died on March 23rd at Mercy Hospital after family members found him unresponsive. Stop the pain. Those words from George Floyd's brother as he testified on police reform. Philonise Floyd told House lawmakers yesterday he wanted to make sure George wasn't just a face on a T-shirt or another name on a list.
I couldn't take care of George that day he was killed, but maybe by speaking with you today, I can make sure that his death will not be in vain.
When asked what he wants the world to hear, Floyd said, "Stop hiring corrupt police officers." The family lawyer also testified at yesterday's hearing. Another cop reality show is over. A&E has canceled Live PD. That decision comes just a day after cops got pulled from the air amid the ongoing protests nationwide about police brutality. While some Chicago businesses repair and rebuild after recent looting and damage, there is a campaign to hire black-owned contractors to handle that work. A group of business owners, pastors, and lawmakers have demanded that companies turn to black contractors and tradesmen long-term and not just after the recent destruction.
I'm here to say this is an end to sharecropping.
Yeah.
We are not going to allow the black community to be pimped and be fronts for other organizations.
That's State Senator Jacqueline Collins. And Joe Biden says his greatest concern is that President Trump will try to steal the November election. In an interview on The Daily Show last night, Biden says he's worried that some votes might not be counted. Former Vice President and presumptive Democratic presidential nominee says Trump has already cast doubt on the use of mail-in ballots as legitimate, despite using one to vote himself. Biden says his campaign is putting together lawyers to patrol the election. And now with WGN Sports, here's Dave Ennett.
Well, at least Ed Howard will know his way around town when he gets the call up to the major leagues. The Southside native taken on the first round last night by the Cubs. The Mount Carmel product
He's a
number
White Sox
60.
fan.
He grew up a White Sox fan, played for the Sox Ace program.
Oh, nice.
Wore a White Sox hat. He's good friends with Tim Anderson.
It was so fun to see his family and friends celebrate when they got the word, and then somebody slips him the Cubs hat.
Yeah. Not a lot of social distancing going on, by the way.
Now that you
in that
mention
crowd.
it. Stay healthy, young man.
Yes. He, by the way, the first high school position player from Illinois taken in the first round of the draft in more than 2 decades. Earlier, the White Sox took left-hander Garrett Crochet, who played his college baseball at Tennessee. He was only able to make one start this season before the pandemic forced the cancellation of the rest of the campaign. Commissioner Rob Manfred said during the draft he's 100% sure there will be a season. Some NBA players reportedly voicing concerns about life in the bubble. That's according to ESPN, which says up to 50 players got on a call to express their concerns about resuming play under very strict guidelines in Orlando. And golf has resumed today under some strict guidelines. First round of the Charles Schwab Challenge in Fort Worth, Texas. The tour says nearly 500 golfers, caddies, and essential personnel were tested. All tests came back negative. Justin Rose with the share of the first round lead. Dave Ennett, WGN Sports.
Your money on WGN. Stocks have opened sharply lower on Wall Street as investors turn jittery once again in the face of rising numbers about coronavirus infections in a number of U.S. states. The S&P 500 is down nearly 2.5% in early trading, off nearly 85 points. The Dow is down 907 points, nearly 3.33%. And the NASDAQ is down nearly 170 points, almost 1.5%. Stocks have been rallying over the past 2 months at a rate that many skeptics said was unsustainable and that didn't reflect the dire condition of the U.S. economy. And the Federal Reserve warned yesterday that the road to recovery would be a long one. European and Asian markets also fell today. Bond yields fell too. The price of crude oil dropped by nearly 7%. Tyson Foods shares are down after the company said it's cooperating with a federal investigation into price fixing in the chicken industry. Springdale, Arkansas-based Tyson Foods says it was served with a grand jury subpoena from the U.S. Department of Justice on the matter. Tyson says it's conducting an internal investigation as well. And Amazon is banning the use of facial recognition software by police departments for 1 year as pressure builds on tech companies to respond to the death of George Floyd during a Memorial Day arrest in Minneapolis, while the House Oversight Committee held hearings on the use of facial recognition. It has yet to introduce a bill regulating that technology. And I'm Steve Grzanich on Chicago's very own 720 WGN.
Hi, it's Lindsay of House Smarts Radio. You've heard me talk about Builders Supply Outlet for years, but now hear from their customer Carol in Westchester.
A friend had recommended Builder Supply, walked in and was just in awe. Went into the showroom and I spent way too much time in there because there was just so much to look at and it was a lot of fun. I was just impressed. You guys have everything you need for a kitchen remodel. It's nice to have it all in one spot. For me, I just knew I wanted good quality, like all hardwood, good things that I will not have to replace again. You guys were great. Everything came in on time with great communication. I was really happy with everything.
Another satisfied customer. But remember, we're so much more than kitchen cabinets. Builders Supply Outlet is located just 5 miles east of the Oakbrook Shopping Mall on Cermak Road in Broadview, or online at buildersupplyoutlet.com.
Quality and savings are what you get at Builders Supply Outlet.
Yeah. Sorry. It's 9:39. Time for Speed Jokes, sponsored by Team Hochberg. Lots of email and jokes come in to John Williams at WGNradio.com. Do send them in, please. John Williams at WGNradio.com. We might read yours on the air. We might not. Remember, we catalog them, too, and you can always share them and play them for your friends. Go to WGNradio.com/speedjokes. Hey, King John, this is from Chris and his friends in Madison, Wisconsin. As a Chicago native living in Wisconsin, I still listen to WGN every day. My coworkers and I get a laugh out of your Speed Joke segment, and we plan our breaks around 9:35 every weekday morning. Here is our joke.
Speed Jokes!
We call them. My friend started a band called Duvet. It's a cover band. Kate Cross sent in this joke from her son Emmett, her 13-year-old. Hey, guys, why does it stink at the deli? Someone cut the cheese. The dwarfs were told that starting Monday, they could start meeting, but only in groups of 6, and one of them is not happy. This joke comes from California. Purple is my least favorite color. I hate it more than red and blue combined. Thanks for that, but the greatest purple joke of all time we've already told, and that is the tanker of red paint collides with the tanker of purple paint. Both crews are believed to be marooned. Or we could have gone with What's Purple and Sings. That's Roy Raisin. Yesterday we did a series of woodchuck jokes. One was, what do woodchucks do when they hear John Williams' speed jokes? And we said that the punchline was they chuckle. A listener wrote in after the show and said, you guys are wrong. The correct answer is they upchuck. What kind of cars do deep sea divers drive? Dave Ennett, your answer is?
Got this one.
Mercedes-Benz.
Whoa.
Nope.
That's a good one. I got it.
Mary.
Scubaroo?
Steve Grzanich.
I don't got it. Sorry.
The correct answer is Scubaroos.
Yes.
Oh.
Scubaroos.
Wow.
Yeah, Mary
I actually
kind of got it.
one.
Well, I just wanted to
I
let
like that
everybody have a turn.
Mercedes-Benz, though.
Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah, that's pretty good. You get the Benz when you scuba dive.
My wife just stopped and said, you aren't even listening to me. And I thought, well, that's a strange way to start a conversation. I'll pause and let that one seep in because
it's home.
Oh, Lord.
That is my house for sure.
I wish that wasn't true. What's the nearest thing to silver, Dave Ennett?
Gold.
Wait, start again. Hey, Dave, what's the nearest thing to silver?
Gold?
No, it's Lone Ranger's bottom. You get it now, don't you?
Yes.
Hello, silver! It's the nearest thing. It's
Ranger.
Everybody sing. Or, actually, you can't sing. No. Where does Lone Ranger, it just reminds me, where does Lone Ranger take his garbage?
To the dump, to the dump, to the dump.
Man, Lone Ranger, I remember that. And then Superman, those two shows every day after school.
Yeah. You know, extolling the virtues of bravery, honesty, kindness, being witty and clever.
Yeah.
And riding around or flying around. It's 9:42. This is WGN. Steve Grzanich is in the newsroom. Alderman Ray Lopez responds to, hey, are you the guy that leaked the tape that has the city buzzing? Alderman Lopez, after little bit of business here. You go first, Steve.
I'll have the weather forecast for you today. It's going to be mainly sunny with temperature right around 80 degrees today. And then tonight, clear skies, a low down to 60. Tomorrow, mainly sunny with a high near 77. Little cooler at the lakefront. Nice weather all the way through the start of next week. On Saturday, a mix of clouds and sunshine, 67 for a high. Mainly sunny on Sunday with a high near 70. It's 68 right now.
NASCAR has heard the calls from Bubba Wallace and banned the Confederate flag from tracks. Wallace, the only full-time African-American driver in the Cup Series, it called earlier this week for the flag to be removed. NASCAR ran last night. Martin Truex Jr., the winner at Martinsville. The MLB draft continues tonight. Last night, Tennessee left-hander Garrett Crochet taken on the first round by the White Sox. Mount Carmel shortstop Ed Howard taken by the Cubs.
And traffic sponsored by Team Hochberg. Still some delays on I-80 due to some bridge work near the Des Plaines River Bridge to watch for. Otherwise, no delays on any of the expressways or tollways. Tonight, though, on the inbound Eisenhower at 8 o'clock, the ramp to northbound Kennedy is going to be closed off until the middle of October. A detour will be posted to follow that will take you to the outbound Ryan to Taylor for a U-turn to head back onto the Ryan. I'm Mary Vandeveld from the IDOT Traffic Center, reminding you to drive responsibly. It really is a matter of life or death.
My name is David Hochberg, and I hope everyone is safe and healthy. In addition to all the essential workers, I want to thank everyone on my team who are essential to helping me help WGN listeners. Every cash-out refinance Team Hochberg closes helps WGN listeners lower their monthly payments, which helps them overcome the financial hardships caused by COVID-19. Every rate and term refinance Team Hochberg closes helps WGN listeners lower their monthly payments or pay their loan off faster, which helps them survive or build downline wealth. Every purchase loan Team Hochberg closes helps WGN listeners downsize to reduce their monthly financial burden or lay roots to enjoy future life cycle events. Because of my team's hard work and dedication, Team Hochberg is the trusted lender WGN listeners contact for a mortgage. If you'd like to see if Team Hochberg can help you reduce your monthly payments, please call 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. Tune into Home Sweet Home Chicago, hosted by me, Saturdays at 10 a.m. Homeside Financial, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1124061.
Our world has changed. When you leave home, face coverings are the new normal, but the kind you use really matters, and not all offer the same protection. Boomer Naturals has a covering with 3 layers of ultra-soft, breathable cloth infused with nano-silver technology, available in adult and children sizes. And Boomer Naturals cloth is made for use up to 30 days when hand washed between uses. Order now at boomernaturals.com. Use code BOB20 at checkout and save 20%. Free shipping on any orders over $50.
Do you have federal student loan debt? You do, or you know someone who does, right? Kaplan Law Firm's got the secret to lowering your monthly payments. There were ways to legitimately, legally, by golly, you ought to do it, lower your monthly payments if you can, including just eliminating a lot of the debt. And now that the rules have changed on loan payments, there's so much forgiveness out there, you really need to call Ray Kaplan at 312-294-8989. I don't know if you've got a free minute today. If you've got time right now, I would call. If you have one nickel more than you think you want to, can, or should pay, call Ray Kaplan. You can visit their website, financialrelief.com, financialrelief.com, or call 312-294-8989. On Sunday, the 31st of May, the mayor of Chicago convened a call with all 50 aldermen. This was the day after there was terrible looting and violence in the city of Chicago. You know what I'm talking about, that awful weekend. It was just shocking to see. So the next day, you and I didn't know this, but the mayor had a conference call with all of the aldermen, and part of that went like this.
Half our neighborhoods are already obliterated. It's too late. We have to come up with a better plan, because my fear is once they're done looting and rioting and whatever's going to happen tonight, God help us, what happens when they start going after residents, going into the neighborhoods? I got gangbangers with AK-47s walking around right now, just waiting to settle some scores. What are we going to do, and what do we tell our residents other than good faith people stand up? It's not going to be enough.
Thank you, Alderman. Next question.
Well, no, I want an answer.
Think about that. So he says all of that. What are we going to do to safeguard our city? It's enough to tell the citizens. It's not enough to tell the citizens to protect themselves. We've got gangbangers with AK-47s roaming the streets, and the mayor pauses and says, "Thank you, Alderman. Next question." So he says, no, wait a minute. I need more than that. Now, it's a little hard to discern exactly what you're about to hear. We bleeped out some of the words we can't broadcast, but you'll hear Mayor Lightfoot say, if you think that we are not ready and that we, the city of Chicago, stood by and let the neighborhood go up, there's nothing intelligent I can say to you. And one of the voices, an alderperson, responds, well, maybe you should come out and see what's going on.
You commented on everybody. I want an answer. It's not something you ignore. This is a question that I have.
I think you're 100% full of shit, what I think. If you think
no offense, hold on. Who are you to tell me I'm full of shit?
If you think we were not ready and we stood by and let the neighborhood go up, there's nothing intelligent that I can say to you.
Well, maybe you should come out and see what's going on.
The stupidest thing I have ever heard. I understand you want to preen. I understand that you think that you...
Mayor, you need to check your attitude. That's what you need to do.
Every single person...
Right now...
So it went on like that for a while. Hour and a half long meeting, and that was the part that's getting all of the attention. It was leaked to Heather Sharon and our friends at WTTW. Heather, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, John.
I want to say three things fast. One, the coarse language doesn't bother me. It wasn't for public consumption. I don't mind that we're all hearing it, but of course, tempers are flaring and emotions are high. The legality of the releasing of it is important, I think, but to me, that's a little bit of an academic thing. It's out there. No one's going to go to jail. What bothers me the most about what we just heard is the underlying issue. Was the city prepared or not? And so that Sunday, as they're wondering, is the city going to burn again Sunday night? What is our plan? And I think that's a fair question. And that remains a fair question, Heather. What jumps out at you when you listen to that?
Well, I know that that's the segment of the tape that's getting all of the attention, and it is not often that you get to hear a mayor and her biggest critic go at it quite so clearly. But the entire call is just filled with fear and dread and sorrow from these aldermen who are really concerned that a second night of looting and violence will spell really just disaster for their communities. And you also heard a little bit in that segment about the fear that the looting was going to spread to residential areas. And by the time we published that tape on Friday, it was clear that that did not happen. And the mayor said repeatedly during that conversation that they were doing the best that they could, that the police department had all hands on deck. But her strategy would really come in for a lot of criticism because it involved closing off downtown, lifting the bridges, and using 375 National Guard troops to protect downtown and keep people out of downtown, which she said freed up officers to patrol and help out the south and the west sides. I think it's very much an open question as to whether that was the right strategy or whether it was effective.
Was that other voice that we were listening to Alderman Ray Lopez?
That's correct.
And was Ray Lopez the person that released that tape?
So at WTTW, we have promised the way that we obtained that tape is to be anonymous. So unfortunately, John, I'm going to have to decline to comment on that.
I understand that. You do know the answer to that question, right?
I do. It's important that people know that when journalists have anonymous sources, we know who those people are. We have verified the authenticity of the tape. It's just that we are not revealing how we obtained that.
Well, Ray Lopez's voice is one of the best known in the city, so clearly that's Ray's voice on the tape. The question is, would he be the one that released it? And I think he has something to gain by its release. Alderman Lopez is on line 8. Ray, thanks for joining us. You're on WGN. How are you?
John and Heather, good morning. How are you guys?
Good. I'll stand by what I said, Ray. I don't want to dwell too much on this because I think there's more important issues than how did Heather get the tape. But did you release the tape?
You know, where the tape came from and who taped it is a distraction at this point. To answer your question quite concisely, no and no. The issue that we have to deal with now
Pardon me, Ray. Hold on, Ray. You did not release the tape. You did not give it to Channel 11.
No.
Do you know who did?
No.
You don't know, and you did not do it. You'll stand by that. I'm not asking this question wrong. You understand the substance of what I'm asking. You don't know how that got out there.
Correct.
Talk to me about the city's plan the next day. What were you driving at in that conversation?
You know, the gist of this conversation, and I want to be clear about something that, yes, the profanity-laced exchange between the mayor and I has gotten everyone's attention. But to Heather's point, aldermen were beseeching the mayor to take their concerns about their neighborhoods seriously, with the fears seriously, and the same kind of glossed over obliviousness that I received. Every alderman trying to protect their neighborhoods received the same treatment, to a lesser extent than I did, obviously. And many of us, all of us, were concerned about what was going on in the city. We had seen what had happened downtown. Many of us were concerned that the actions to protect the central business district from Cermak to Division, River to Lake, with National Guard and leaving nothing in the neighborhoods in terms of additional support was a mistake. There were many of us who were concerned, as I was, that we were forsaking the neighborhoods, the other neighborhoods.
Superintendent Brown said that more arrests were made in the neighborhoods than were made in the Central District. Lori Lightfoot said that. One of them said that. Is that compelling to you? They were in the neighborhoods. They were making arrests.
You know what? They're both wrong. Not to put too fine a point on it, they're both wrong. Mayor Lightfoot spent 3 days in the OEMC bunker watching videos, trying to dictate from afar where to send resources throughout the city of Chicago.
Where did you want her to be?
She needed to be the face of Chicago, stressing people to be calm, to be trusting in that their government would not fail them. And instead, she tried to monopolize control of the department and run it herself. We had a superintendent who was not in charge of his own department during one of the scariest times in our city's history.
You said that the mayor was suggesting, tell me if I've got this right, Heather, was it the implication in that call that the mayor was telling the gangs to go ahead and patrol their neighborhoods? Heather, is that your reporting on this?
That was certainly what Alderman Lopez said on Chicago Tonight when he was interviewed by Phil Ponce. During the call, Alderman Michael Rodriguez, who represents Little Village, he said that there were people who he thought his colleagues, quote, would rather be incarcerated out in the neighborhood. But there was no explicit, we're partnering with the gangs to patrol areas that the police department can't get to on the call. And that was really sort of what I started reporting that led us to this conversation.
So let me say, John, that, when I brought that up on Channel 11, I was already in possession of an email from Susan Lee, the Deputy Mayor for Public Safety, who, in response to my concerns about, my growing concerns about gangs patrolling and protecting their turf, so to speak, in my neighborhood and others, that we were going to see black Chicagoans targeted. And this was in response to a shooting by one of my residents in Back of the Yards, a 49-year-old black man, by a juvenile gangbanger, chasing him while he was trying to drive home, shouting at, "What are you doing in the neighborhood?"
You're worried about the targeting of people of color. I have 30 seconds left, Ray.
He was targeted. The mayor did know about that policy. They knew about this policy working with gangs, and it's been one bad choice after another, leapfrogging and just not thinking things through, and we have to get back on track. We need a plan to rebuild, and we need a plan to move forward, and right now we're not getting it.
Ray Lopez is a frequent critic of the mayor's, and we've heard what you had to say today. In short, Ray, let's visit again when we have more time. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Heather, as always, thank you for your reporting. Thanks for joining us too, Heather.
Thanks, John.
You see Heather Sirott on Channel 11. You hear her on our Mincing Rascals podcast. The news is coming up.
Radio Chicago. This is AM 720. WGN.
Your health and well-being are top of mind right now. That includes your financial security. At Wintrust Mortgage, we can help. We offer refinance solutions so you can take advantage of low rates to reduce payments. And we have the sophisticated technology to let you go through the process conveniently from home. Uncertainty can add stress to an already tense time. Rely on us. Visit wintrustmortgage.com/refi. Wintrust Mortgage is a division of Barrington Bank and Trust Company, N.A. NMLS number 449042. Equal housing lender.
Save today on your next project with 11% off everything. Now at Menards. Menards has what you need to start and finish your projects. Plus, you'll save 11% on all of it. Menards offers contactless pickup. Order and pay for your items online, and we'll load your order into your vehicle with zero contact. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through June 13th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Did you know almost 40% of automobile recalls go unrepaired? That's not safe. Check DriveChicago.com to see if your car has an open recall. Then no matter where you bought it, schedule an appointment with a new car dealer for a free repair. Don't wait. Do it today.
2 years from now. Got any plans? I don't. But 2-year contracts make you plan around them anyway. What's even happening tomorrow? At WOW, we give contracts the modern touch by not having them. With us, not only do you get our super fast Internet 200 for a ridiculously low $44.99 a month, but you'll also get safe, simple, contact-free installation. Sign up today at wowway.com. Wow. Limited offer for new customers with autopay and paperless billing. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Offer subject to change. Restrictions and terms apply.
The world needs more heroes, more action-oriented do-gooders, more here's how I can help right-hand sidekicks. The world of listening. Sarcoma is a rare cancer of the body's soft tissue and bone, and this cancer affects tens of thousands of Americans yearly. The Sarcoma Foundation of America partners with like-minded heroes to advocate for sarcoma patients through funded research and widespread awareness efforts. Learn how you can join forces at curesarcoma.org.
Serving the great Midwest from Chicago, this is WGN at AM 720 on your radio and on smart devices anywhere just by saying play WGN radio on TuneIn.
WGN Chicago.
A Nexstar Media Group station.
It is 68 degrees at 10 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Steve Bertrand. The news is sponsored by Penny Mustard Furnishings. Adding up the Illinois jobless claims this week on Wall Street, the Dow is down 1,000 points. First, a look at traffic. Here's Mary Vandeville.
And traffic is sponsored by Amita Health. Watch for an accident still outbound Eisenhower off to the side at 25th. There's some moving road work on the outbound Edens at Niles Center. No delays on the Kennedy, the Stevenson, or the Dan Ryan. Also road work eastbound 8094 Kennedy to before Burr and Mundelein. Watch for an accident Route 83 just north of Town Line Road. Amita Health makes it easy to access their high-quality care with online scheduling and hundreds of locations. Learn more at amitahealth.org/access or call 855-MY-AMITA. Amita Health in sickness and in health. Mary Vandeveld, WGN Traffic Central.
The forecast from the WGN Chicago Weather Center meteorologist Mike Jensen.
It's going to be comfortable here for the rest of today. A little breezy. West winds gusting up to 30 miles per hour. Cover could lead to a stray sprinkle or two, but then we clear things right back out for tonight as we drop into the lower 60s. Plenty of sunshine on our Friday. Highs in the mid-70s inland, upper 60s at the lakefront. But look for those temperatures to fall late in the day as north-northeast winds start to become breezy, gusting upwards to 25 miles per hour. That's just a precursor to a much cooler weekend. Despite mostly sunny skies on Saturday, temperatures only make their way into the upper 60s inland. It's like lower 60s lakeside. On Sunday, mostly sunny in the afternoon, highs in the lower 70s, mid-60s at the lake. And then Monday, back to work with mostly sunny skies, highs in the upper 70s inland, closer to 70 by the lakefront there. And then on Tuesday, we become partly cloudy in the afternoon. Can't rule out a stray shower, but temperatures climb. Highs in the mid-80s inland, upper 70s lakeside. From the WGN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Mike Jansen.
Right now at O'Hare, it's 68, the same at Midway. 69, the hot spot is at Chicago's lakefront. Another 1.5 million Americans filed new unemployment claims last week. In Illinois, there were nearly 45,000 residents who filed for the first time. That's about 1,500 fewer claims than the week before. Joint Chiefs Chairman Mark Milley says he regrets taking part in President Trump's recent photo op where the president brought a Bible outside a church across the street from the White House. In a recorded video commencement address, General Milley said, "I should not have been there."
My presence in that moment and in that environment created a perception of the military involved in domestic politics. As a commissioned uniformed officer, it was a mistake that I have learned from, and I sincerely hope we all can learn from it.
Defense Secretary Esper had similar comments earlier. Authorities that day used tear gas and rubber bullets to clear protesters before the president and others walked to the church, the president holding up a Bible. General Holcomb of Indiana announced stage 4 of the Back on Track Indiana plan will begin sooner than expected.
In terms of going from one stage to the next, as the numbers hold, and because we do look good, we'll push back stage 4 or pull up stage 4 to this Friday at 12:01 a.m.
Stage 4 allows social gatherings of up to 250 people as long as they stay 6 feet apart. Retail stores and malls can open at full capacity following social distancing guidelines, and restaurants can open up at 75% capacity. How about casinos in Illinois? A meeting this morning might determine when they will open. For the first time in 4 months, the gaming board will meet. They'll strategize how to reopen the state's casinos safely and soon. It's estimated Illinois casinos lost more than $100 million in just the first month of being shut down. Ford is expanding in Chicago. It signed a lease for a big industrial building near its South Side assembly plant. Crane says Ford plans to use the building for pre-assembly work of components that will then be delivered to the assembly plant on Torrance Avenue. And doctors at Northwestern Medicine University have performed the first ever double lung transplant on a patient whose lungs were damaged by COVID-19. Here's WGN's Pam Jones.
The patient, who's in her 20s, spent 6 weeks in the COVID ICU on a ventilator. By early June, her lungs showed irreversible damage. The lung transplant team at Northwestern then listed her for a double lung transplant. 48 hours later, they performed the life-saving surgery. Doctors say it was her only chance at surviving. She's now recovering. Pam Jones, WGN News.
This is not a day to look at your 401k. WGN's Orion Samuelson with your money.
No, it's not, because of a sharp drop on Wall Street today. The Dow Industrial Average at the moment down 1,024 points, and the S&P 500 down 102 points. The Nasdaq down 196 points, with the VIX at the CBOE, that's the volatility index, up nearly 4 points. Some of the stocks today: Boeing Company down 7.8% after its top supplier, Spirit Aerosystems Holdings, announced a 21-day layoff for staff doing production and support work for the Boeing 737 program. Shares of banks also which tend to benefit in a higher rate environment, slipped 4.8%, and the online food delivery service system Grubhub jumped 6% after Europe's Just Eat takeaway agreed to buy its U.S. competitor in an all-stock deal for $7.3 billion. The grain market today, not much change as we've seen in the past week or so in agriculture. The July wheat contract is down 1 1/4 a bushel. July corn up 3.5 cents a bushel, and July soybeans trading lower. They just went to unchanged at 8.65 1/4. Livestock futures, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, the June lean hog contract down 15 cents a hundredweight. June live cattle up 17 cents a hundredweight, and the August feeder cattle contract down $3 or $2.07 a hundredweight. That's your money on 720 WGN.
68 degrees right now at O'Hare. I'm Steve Bertrand on Chicago's very own 720 WGN.
You can rely on Blaine's Farm and Fleet for the best prices on products that deliver, like Craftsman tools and workshop accessories. Right now, save on a fixed-height Craftsman workshop stool with a rip and tear resistant vinyl seat. The frame is chip, scratch, rust, and corrosion resistant, so it will look great for years to come. On sale, $39.99. Rewards members pay $37.99. That's genuine value from Blaine's Farm and Fleet. The original, authentic, still family-owned since 1955.
there's a chance your local Geico agent has the same affinity for dad jokes as you.
What do you call a fake noodle?
I don't know. Maybe an impasta.
Oh, so cheesy.
Did it grate on you?
Yeah, you really shredded me.
But there's a better chance your local Geico agent could help you out with auto, homeowners, renters, or condo insurance. Motorcycle, boat, or RV insurance, too. They'll work hard to provide sound advice and significant savings. You don't need to share a love for paternal puns to do that. Local Geico agents. Call or visit yours today.
The natural habitat of a creepy doll is a horror movie. It can't help being creepy. It's that small, fixed smile and those never-closing eyes, always watching you, plotting, which you're imagining. It's mindless. But when the creepy doll hears that Geico not only saves people money, but also gives them easy access to emergency roadside service through an award-winning app, it knows you should switch. Because yes, switching to Geico is a no-brainer. The only question is, how did the creepy doll move from the bedroom to the hallway? I would get out of the house.
Hi, it's 10:08. This is WGN Radio. The Dow's off 1,000 points. You know, we shouldn't have been talking about it. We shouldn't have been saying, bad as the jobs are, bad as your economy is. The markets seem to be impervious to it. Now it's off $1,000.
Earlier this week, I was like, look, the Dow's only off 4%. The NASDAQ's up 10. Why would I do that? Why would I look at my 401k, John?
I hadn't until yesterday, and I thought, okay, maybe someday we'll retire. Not today, not tomorrow, but okay, the market's recovered, and that's where people's retirement funds tend to be, is in the markets, in your mutual funds.
Started singing Barry Manilow, Looks Like We Made It.
By the way, looks like we didn't. I got to think of the other Barry Manilow song that's the opposite of that. Hey, John Williams, when you start your music program Sunday nights at 9, play a jazz cut by Steve Allen. Hadn't thought about that. I'll look for that and maybe cue it up. I don't know if you heard Sunday Standards. The last half hour of this radio show would remind you that, listen, we're all dealing with and processing a lot, and it's just so agonizing and tense out there. Sunday nights, we're going to take 2 hours and just play songs from the Great American Songbook. American Standards. So maybe Barry Manilow covering something, or Linda Ronstadt's Lush Life. We'll pull a cut off of that. But we'll go back and get Thelonious Monk maybe, or Steve Allen for that matter, Jack Jones. I was listening to Peggy Lee a little the other day, and I haven't done that in a long time, and it wasn't bad. But certainly Sinatra and Mathis and Streisand and Nat King Cole. Oh, Lord, I was listening to some Nat King Cole last night. I love the idea of these songs coming out your radio speaker as you end your weekend and get ready for another week of battle. We'll do that Sunday nights at 9. So thanks for the recommendation. Maybe a little Steve Allen down the road. John Williams, you said Lori Lightfoot has a dirty little. You said little Lori has a dirty mouth. I'm not exactly sure that's exactly how I put it, but I said something like that. Really, John? Women aren't supposed to swear when angered? That sounded misogynistic, and I know you're not. I'm disappointed. I regretted it just as quickly as I said it that way, because the point I was making, too, was that if Rahm Emanuel had been on that call, that's the way he would have said hello. So I'm not concerned about the coarse language on the tape. And a lot of you are writing to say that's a violation of the Open Meetings Act. A judge will decide that.
That came up yesterday. Anna had the 10th Ward Alderman on, and I asked her about that. And she said it wasn't. But then her reasoning I didn't quite understand why it wasn't.
Well, I've read a little bit about the rules and regulations, what defines an open meeting, and what are the laws that govern how aldermen can get together. Do you have a quorum? Will there be a vote? Was it previously scheduled? Was business conducted, or was it just informational? And Lori Lightfoot and the city argue one way. Her detractors argue the other. The ACLU chimed in, and they are not on the city side. They think it was a violation of the Open Meetings Act. Okay. I mean, I want to pay attention to that. Frankly, if you're getting interested in the ethics of this conversation, I'm more interested in the leaking of it to politically damage the mayor. I think that is a much graver concern to all of us. As the city's burning, they're having this heated conversation. Communications are being exchanged. I don't think you need to use that to punish somebody. If the next time they have to meet in emergency session, legally or otherwise, and they're afraid what they're saying is now going to be on Channel 11 tomorrow night, maybe they then couch their thoughts, and that doesn't do anybody any good. The most troublesome thing to me here is not is it a violation, not the bad language used. I don't care if they're calling each other swear words. But I don't think you should be leaking that to the press. Hey, it's been interesting, and it is kind of cool to see behind the curtain how they do it. I mean, to be honest with you, it'd be nice if it was like that more often. That is, free-flowing. I believe in one of our Mincing Rascals podcasts, one of the gang said when the president, early in his administration, would engage in open meetings with the Democrats, and Nancy Pelosi would say this and he would say that, and some people thought that the decorum was disappointing, and others thought, no, the Senate should be like this all the time. They should have free-flowing exchanges, and it doesn't have to be pretty.